This is your last margin call with your hosts, Beck and Tim.
Welcome everyone, it is December 21st and I have a special show lined up for everybody. We've titled this one, The Other Half of Trading. We have one guest with us tonight. Her name is Beck, my wife. Why don't you give a nice little big hello since this is your grand appearance?
Good evening, everyone. Hi, I'm very happy to be here to finally be able to have my moment.
So I think this is like one of the most important things that you could probably talk about in trading. I know we've kind of said that about the past few other topics in regards of what you need to be successful. But the other half of trading is handling the at-home life, is the making sure your significant other is there for you. It can handle and understand the schedule that requires from the trading world in order for you to be going through just anything in general. The studying that it takes, the progression, the just acceptance just to join in and get into this, I think is very difficult, especially when you have other people to worry about in your life. Some of the things that I want to talk about tonight is I want to kind of just open up about this, and so you're kind of get a little bit of a personal insight in our relationship on just how things came to be. So what I want to do is I want to open up and just ask Beck here, and just say, when I first came to you and I said, you know what, this is what I want to do, like this is what I want to make money off of, this is how I'm going to be making my money, what was your take when I said that? So my take, I was very supportive of you because I was like, oh, this is very cool. I don't know anyone who does this for a living, but it's always one of those, like, I think there's a lot of allure behind saying you are a trader or in the trading field. But I think at the time, and still to this day, it's something I struggle with, is I don't fully grasp how much time it fully takes to trade. Right. It still blows my mind. So at the time, I think I was really supportive of it because it was very intriguing. It was new. It was something that was exciting, and you were so passionate about it. But I didn't really understand what the toll it would take on myself. And I know that kind of sounds selfish, but at the same time, relationship, two people, blah, blah, blah. But the whole time thing is really what got me. So when you say that it was a toll on yourself, though, like, are you willing to open up about that on this? I mean, I feel like I kind of know what it is, but what was the toll that it got placed on you?
So, I would say the toll is just meaning like, so I work a typical job. I work my usual 8 to 4. Mm-hmm. And
I know.
For me, the struggle was understanding of when I come home at 4, I might have some cleaning up to do from work, getting prepared for the next day. But for the most part, that's my choice. I'm done when I come home. So for me, it was really hard understanding what do you mean the market's closed? Why aren't you done? I don't get it. Why aren't you done?
Oh, there's so much more. There's so much more.
Or the prepping at night stuff, or prepping on Sunday, that, constant prepping. There was never, and it still is. It's something I'm still kind of struggle with, the time thing. It's oh God, can you just be free? But
it's very hard. It's very hard to balance that life. But I still don't have it figured out.
Yeah, that's really, I think, if I'm going to pinpoint it, it would be just the fact that it's there literally is, it's not like a typical job, and I think that's something people don't understand, where it's there is no end.
No, there's not. It's 6 days.
You don't clock out.
There's 6 days a week, and sometimes I can pull up charts at midnight and still work, and so I guess. So we talked about the toll and the time commitment that it has. We'll dive a little bit more into the time commitment side of things, but I think I think a lot of people have is the struggle of expectations that they have to present to their significant other, of like the allure of Wolf on Wall Street, the boiler rooms, the oh my God, Wall Street, and you say Wall Street and everyone just expects you to make $1 million, and if you're not making $1 million, what the hell are you doing? Like, what was the expectation when I told you, like, hey, this is what I'm going to be doing?
So in that respect, I guess I kind of would be frustrated because it's, again, I come from a world of a very typical corporate, like, get there at 8, you can leave by like 4 or 5 o'clock, typical day, whatever. And like, I knew what I was doing every day. I knew I would be done. I knew what my paycheck was going to be. I knew what my bonuses were going to be. And it was very typical, and it was, there were no surprises. So for me, again, it was just kind of like I struggled with the highs and lows of it because it just is so unpredictable, and that's just something I've just come to just accept, and that is just how it is. That's just the risks you take with it, and you just got to roll with the punches, sort of thing. So,
like, I guess if someone is out there and they're trying to talk to their significant other, girlfriend, boyfriend, partner, just whoever it is, and they're saying, like, hey, this is what this other person is going through or went through, and I need you to understand that because this is what the job entails. It goes with any job.
Yeah, and that's what I was just going to say. It's really like just with anything.
Do you have any advice for them?
I was just going to say, it's just like when you start anything, like even my I just started a new job. And you just have to be patient with yourself, and you have to be patient with your partner. Like, patient with yourself that it's like, you can't put your same standards that you have on yourself for your job onto the person who's trading, because it's not the same. It's a completely different animal. Yeah. And then your partner has to be patient with you at the same time, like understanding, like, it's just communication and being patient and understanding that there's a giant learning curve with trading that is not really there for most jobs. Like, some jobs, like, yes, but for the most part, you don't have jobs where it's
your paycheck may not show up for
it's
months,
not even about
years.
The paycheck. It's like what everything you learn and know, and you can be so skilled at doing stuff, and it can just flip just like that. Like, I couldn't handle my job if
you knew your performance was dictated your paycheck?
Yeah, no.
Literally not getting something and getting something?
Yeah, I just mean how inconsistent the market is. Not even like profits coming in from trading. I just mean like the market in general.
Yeah. Well, no, I get that side of things, and I think that's like one of the hardest things I can't even explain to people when they say, hey, I want to jump into this, and even part-time. And you have to explain to your significant other, like, hey, I have $1,000 at risk here today, this evening, and, I may lose that. I may never get that back, or I may make more money to get that back. I think that's one of the hardest things because money is so emotional. Money can dictate your financial well-being, can dictate, paying rent, bills, anything else like that.
Yeah.
What did you do, like, I know you still battle that, because the days where I say I'm red, days where I say I'm green, and you're like, well, fuck, here we go. Here we go.
I had to learn to like check myself, where I wouldn't.
What do you mean by that?
I wouldn't so much harp on you, because it's like there's so much stress.
The biggest critic is not myself; it's my wife.
There's so much stress that already goes with trading, and so I learned to kind of compartmentalize things. Like, your role is your role. Like, I'm going to be supportive, whatever you need for trading, if you need time. Like, that's kind of how the path I've taken now versus in the beginning, where it was like, okay, show me your paycheck at the end of the week. What did you do for me? And that was
hard.
That's not an appropriate or productive approach for anything.
No, but let's be real. I mean, yes, and I think that's kind of like one of the realest things out there as well, is like, you kind of have to check yourself. Like, if you're using too much money and you're putting your family at risk.
Yeah, and that's just a conversation. Like, and that's a conversation we had when you first, like, I don't think we had it when you first started trading. I think we had it a little bit further down.
Right. Because I wasn't using that much money, and then I built up to something.
Yeah, and then we had the conversation about what all just like limits really for things. Like if it gets like this, if it gets
too red
for too long,
it's time to consider things. Is there an Uber driver available?
Yeah, but that's all. It's just a different it's a different approach than how I used to do it, because it's so different.
Well, like, do you remember, like, all right, so I think it was a few years ago, and I hit that wicked nasty run, and we were like, I was pulling in 4 figures a day at that point, and we were like, like I was on pace to maybe, and it's no joke, like I definitely don't make this now, so I have no problem like talking about that. Like I was making 4 figures easily, and it was for a couple months, and we started talking about like, let's talk about houses. Like let's talk about buying some like, possibly $500,000 houses, $1 million houses, just because of the success that I was having. I thought this is gonna go on. Like I know what the fuck I'm doing now. I'm so good at what I'm doing, and like there's no sign of this stopping, and it's gonna just continue forward, and I'm not gonna have a problem with this. And I remember us having that talk in our bedroom of like, hey, I'm pulling in like a couple grand a day. Like, do you want to start looking at houses? Like, what was your expectation when you heard me talking about that?
Well, obviously you get all like, ooh, oh shit, here we go.
Here we go.
Yeah, at the time, it was great. But like looking back on it, I think that was a really good, like, hell, you and I were just talking about that today.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about that.
I think it was a really good learning moment for both of us about, like, this is going to sound very, like, Miyagi-y, but
okay.
Appreciating the market.
Yeah. Learning to be humble, young one, Padawan.
Yeah, and I think you were such a new and
I think that was
bright-eyed, bushy-tailed trader.
I think I think I started in 2015, so, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I am nothing. But 2016 and 17 is when I really hit my stride, and I was nailing consistent gains, and it was going well. And then, the second half of 17 is when I started realizing like I was making good money, and that's when Beck and I started having those talks about like, let's talk about realistic expectations if this continues.
Yeah.
And I think, you're gonna hit some wild runs. Like everybody hits wild runs, where you think like, oh fuck, I'm just gonna quit my job. You know what? This will continue, and you're gonna hit some really fucking low points in your life and trading, where you just feel like you can't break free, and that's also another point that you have to consider. Like I've been there.
Sorry.
I've been there. Like I've done that, and I've hit the extreme highs. I've hit some extreme lows sometimes, and it's like you have to just go ahead. Like I was
just gonna say, and that's where it's like I've learned to be better and not take my frustration with how the market and how things are going out on you. It's been a point of like there's a conversation, and that's something I'm still working on getting better about, is still like having a conversation with you about like, okay, how did today go? Okay, why did you do that? Okay, how did that play work out? That sort of thing, instead of being like, what the fuck? Why did this, like, because not even like that's even an extreme exaggeration. I hope no one talks to anyone like that.
Money's so emotional that like you almost can you blame someone for doing that?
I will say, I think part of it is for you and I is like I'm very confident in my own role.
Yeah.
Like, I enjoy working.
Yeah.
And that's always been who I am. I've always wanted to be a person with a very like awesome
dominant
career.
role.
Yeah. And so for me that's just kind of, I think that's another reason why I've always been kind of like what now
kind of like willy-nilly on it.
Yeah, now that I've gotten into like a point in my life where I have like a really good good career and I'm very happy with it. That also but again that ties into the money aspect.
Yeah.
But
well, like I guess that could play into it as well, in the fact that like making sure that no matter what if you're having extreme highs or lows within your trading or anything else like that, that you're taking your family, your relationship, and you're not risking that on a play. You know, if you're going out there and you have a $20,000 account and you're saying, you know what, fuck it, I'm going all in on this. Like, if I can make it huge and I could pay off, you know, everything, my family could be set. But you could also lose that, and you could put your family back into a position that they just can't recover from because of your actions on the trading front of things. And I think that's one thing that I make sure that I always do regardless, is I always make sure that no matter what happens, no matter what play I take, I will never put my child in a position where he won't have a home. I'll never put Becky in a position where where she needs to reconsider her job or actively look for another thing or just anything.
And it all just comes back to conversations. It comes back to, like, these are dialogues that you and I have had, like way long ago about, like,
in the beginning.
In the very beginning. And I was very upfront about how I wanted to be the career one. I've always wanted to work at some massive company and have a giant, lustrous career, and I am doing that, and I never wanted to stay at home.
I know. And so,
ever.
So I think I'm in a unique situation that, you know, most men don't stay at home. My wife, there's a couple people out there on Twitter that actually are in the same role that I am, where their wife, no matter what, just will always make more money than them, regardless of how far they progress in their field or how dominant they are in their field. I was planning on going the medical route, and I took a back seat because my wife had a better career advancement, and no matter what I could do, my field capped. Her field did not cap, so I took the responsibility of taking a back seat to her and letting her progress and doing that. So my thing at that time where we were is I was going to find other ways to manage and handle things, and I found multiple avenues, and I found this, and back when that happened, I studied my fucking ass off. Like, she's right here next to me. Like, how many times did I stay up till like 4 o'clock in the morning reading book after book, YouTube after YouTube video?
That was like, not exaggerating, that was essentially my entire maternity leave.
Yeah, and
that's all that was.
And like, that's what I mean. Like, I was so committed.
You do what you can when you can.
And you just have to put in the time, and that's the thing though, the studying side of things, of making sure you have something set in stone, and you're wanting to put it into action, requires a ton of effort as well, and the effort to get to where the point where you can even have discussions on making money and not making money is a whole nother side of things. Is your partner has to know that it's like going back to school. You're gonna have to learn a lot of fucking things really fast, and you can get lucky and make money, but you also, why not do it right? And I mean, she was there for all of it. Watching YouTube videos until 4 a.m. I think I downloaded every book on Google Play.
So many podcasts.
Speaking of podcasts now, but no, like I wanted all opinions as fast as possible. I wanted all the information as fast as possible. I knew that, the time that I had was limited, so I was going to use all time possible to try to progress further. But I think the talking to your spouse or significant other, partner, whoever it is, about handling wins is the stupidest conversation you could possibly have. No one's ever going to argue with you on money. Oh my God, you made money today. But they're going to critique you on that. No one's ever going to do that. I think the hardest thing that people have to do is talk about the losses. And I think it's nobody on.
It's not. It's more than. It's so much more than just the losses. It's because that's just monetary. It's the whole emotional aspect, like the drain, the mental and physical drain that does to someone. Because there's so much prep work that goes into trading, and so when you do all that and you commit to all that, and then you're still at a loss, it's you have to talk about that and prepare someone, because that's heavy. To try to pick someone up from that, like it can be very heavy.
Money is emotional, and it's difficult as fuck to just try to.
Well, then you spiral down the rabbit hole from there.
Well, like, and that's the thing, though. It's like you have to, as a person, if you're listening to this, like, you have to understand, like, when a loss happens, like, I can't even, some days I can't even do it. I'm going to be real with you. It's just like, you have to be able to separate that from home life. You can't bring work home with you.
You still struggle with that.
I know. I still struggle with that hard. It's like, when you get, like, because you want to be right. It's a field that rewards you for being right. And you can't, and when you're wrong, it's like, well, I'm wrong in everything that I've ever learned. I've done, like, the simplest things, and being able to separate that and be like, you know what, I took a loss today. I'm not going to take it out on my kid. I'm not going to take it out on my wife. Not going to take it out on my partner, anybody else like that.
You shouldn't even take it out on yourself. Yeah. Like, you don't want to bottle it up.
Yeah, it's like you have to just realize, and you have to be numb to it. Like, this happens all the time, and I lost a lot. If you lost a lot, try going down, like going down in size.
It's just, I think it's just anything in life, really.
Yeah.
Getting all philosophical, but it's when you have ups and downs like that, and when you have big wins and big losses, it's learning moments. Yeah. It's not a time to beat yourself up. Like, hell, like when we moved out here, it's not really comparable. I'm just saying how, like, wins and losses, and that was a big learning experience for us.
Yeah.
It's
a big change in parenting, life, and everything.
And that's what I mean. You can bottle it up and get frustrated and get angry and keep it in, or whatever the hell you want to do with it.
Yourself.
Yeah, but there's nothing positive that's going to come from that. It's better to just, like, take a breath. And try to pick up the pieces and learn.
Well, like, what are some of the things that I know that I do whenever I take any loss on a trade, where, I'll lose $1, I lose $30, I lose whatever amount, $100, whatever times when I told you about losing, $1,000 in a single fucking day.
Yeah.
And, like, when I told you about those things, like, nothing motivates me more to, like, all right, fuck life, fuck everything around me. I'm spending the next 12 hours at a computer, and I'm going to figure out what the hell I did wrong. I'm going to figure out how I could correct that, all that singular day from the time that I exited the trade to the next day. And I think understanding your partner when it comes to that, and, like, you have perfectionists out there, and everybody fucking says they're perfectionists. No, like, you're not a perfectionist. You just don't want to lose money again. Like, that's the real side of things, is you're not something special, all right? You just don't want to lose it again, so you're going to do everything you possibly can to make sure you don't lose it again. You obviously know when I have red days, and you obviously know when I have green days, and my attitude just completely changes, ins and outs. What do you tell someone out there that, he just took, like, that he or she just took a red day? How do they explain to their partner, just, like, hey, I need some time to figure out, to make sure that this doesn't happen again?
Well, now we're at a point where I can tell by your mood what's going on, and I'm not dumb. I can look at the market, and I can see how things are going. And
on your way home, you listen to NPR.
I can
the Dow is down 500 points.
I can see news
fuck, I'm not going home
alerts.
today.
I have an idea of what I'm going to be walking into, but I've found for you particularly, and again, this is not a cookie cutter, one size doesn't fit all, but I found the best solution for you is just give you some space, some time to digest, some time to breathe.
Yeah.
And give yourself some, like, away time.
Yeah.
And then re-enter, like, the world, so to speak, like, re-enter the family and being, like, letting it brush off of you, so to speak.
Yeah. All right, hold up. We forgot to do our whole drink thing. What we're drinking tonight. I think that's like one of the most important parts of this podcast. I think we kind of just jumped right into it.
Yeah.
Beck, what are you drinking tonight?
So I went a little Christmassy with my drink of choice this evening. I'm doing rum chata with caramel vodka, and then I did a little bit of chocolate drizzle in there, and it's super good. Basically, it tastes like melted ice cream, but it's deceivingly strong because it tastes really good, but it's like all alcohol.
No, that's fine. So I went with my drink of choice, the Raznos Reindeer, trademarked. Don't try to steal it. You do razzmatazz, which is basically quarter part, and then you do the caramel vodka that's in there.
There's caramel vodka in that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's good.
It was good. I just didn't know there was caramel vodka in it.
Yeah, and then you do the caramel vodka, which is actually going to be a part and a half. And then you do the rum chata. Or no, you do triple sec, not rum chata.
Yeah, no, triple sec.
Triple sec on there. And that's going to be one part. And you stir that together, and I would say it kind of tastes like it's like the sour, like...
It tastes like a sour candy.
No, it's like the sour ice cream that you get. And it's like...
Sherbet?
Yeah, but it's more sour than sherbet.
It was really good. And it wasn't very sweet. It was kind of tart. It needs lime juice, 100%.
Oh, yeah, and then you got to add a quart of lime.
It needs lime juice.
Quart of lime.
Without lime juice, it's very sweet.
All right. So, but yeah, that's what... so we're like 20 minutes into this shit, and we completely forgot the most basic concept of the show.
Drinking.
But, drinking. It's the last margin call. Anyway, so I think, I feel like we tackled a lot of topics today. Like, do you have something that really sticks out to you?
The only thing I think, like, for me, and it's something that I think we will forever struggle with. It's something we'll forever come back to, and that's the commitment, the time commitment. Because I still find it frustrating, and I still find it frustrating.
Course,
like, it's like not when you're not even at your desk, you're always checking charts on your phone, and now it's to the point where it's like it just, and I know I've probably said this earlier, it's just a conversation where we went back to like what expectations are. Like, you can be checking charts and stuff, but you have to be present. Like,
not only present for you, but present for our son as well.
Yeah, and I get it. It's a job. It's like, anyone else who's on call for their job. So I've become more patient with it, but it's just a conversation where you have to express what your expectations are. Like, I express to you, when we go places, you have to not be on your phone 24/7 checking Trump tweets and charts and whatever.
Very entertaining.
Yes.
And who knows what ES Futures could be doing while we're at dinner. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, so it's like I know I've had problems with this.
In the past.
In the past.
So
and some examples that maybe stand out to you.
See, like, this is gonna throw you really under the rug, but you asked, so now I'm gonna say it.
Yeah.
So when our son was born a year and a half ago, I was in labor. So to give you a time frame, we got to the hospital at 1 a.m. 1 a.m. Yeah.
No, 11.
Yeah, no, it was 1 a.m. Water broke at 11. We got there at 1 a.m. And I had to walk and do squats and lunges till like 5 a.m. to get things going. And you're sitting on your phone looking at charts.
The next big play could be coming.
Wanted to kill you. Like, right now I can laugh at it, but at the time I was like, oh my God, I was going to take one of those cords they had hooked up to me and just like strangle you. Oh.
You hear that,
police? If it wasn't so painful to walk, you would have been dead.
No, like I think that's a trading mindset that a lot of people have, is that they don't want to miss out on the next play, they don't want to miss the next setup to potentially make money, and I think it transcends across all types of jobs. Like, they don't want to miss the next client. I'm constantly
checking my emails. Like, I checked my emails on Thanksgiving. I was responding to clients on Thanksgiving.
Exactly. So,
like, I'm no better.
I know, but but I think the hardest thing is the balance.
Yeah.
And
it's about being present.
Yes.
When you're there with family, be there with family. if you need to check your charts or whatever, check your charts, but then don't forget where you are.
Yeah. And if you have to do it, stay up later. Like, if you can't stay up later because you have to wake up early, that's a sacrifice that you have to make. That's something that if you want to get ahead and you want to do that, but you also need to fulfill the things that you have going for you in life, having that partner that has accepted you, having that significant other, having that husband or wife or whoever.
Because it's not easy.
Yeah, because it's not easy.
It
is trading is an emotional roller coaster.
Yes.
Regardless, you're going to have extreme highs, you're going to have extreme lows. Yeah, and eventually you revert back to your trend of whatever you're doing, but you gotta be there, and you kind of have to have somebody there for you that understands what you're going through, and that's why you have to have that talk. If I never talked to her about this, then she's just gonna.
I think I would have killed you by now.
Yeah, I think you'd think I would absolutely crazy, like, oh my fucking god, flipping out because this orange man is sending out another tweet,
and it goes on your partner too. Like I've made an active effort of, like, it's been a little bit more challenging now that I have a new job and my job is a little bit more demanding than previously.
Mm-hmm.
I do my best to stay on top of things so that when you have frustrations and we have those conversations, they're not just like, oh, was your day good? Oh, good. Was it a green day or was it a red day? Like, they're a little
bit more depth to it.
Yeah,
So I think,
and that's
great.
Appreciation. Like,
Yes,
I appreciate what
yes.
you do, so I want to understand it. And I know that goes two ways.
And having that partner that asks you those questions of, like, beyond the typical, how was the market today? Were you green or red? And, like, you kind of want a little bit more in depth, and, like, you want to showcase, like, if your significant other's like, yeah, I sold something into a client today and it made a lot of money off of it, like, they're going to want to tell you about it in the same way that you want to tell your partner about it. It is partly on your partner as well to kind of have the most basic understanding of what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that when they know when the red day happens, it's not just because
like
you fucking suck.
anything, though. Like, if you're with someone who has an interest in mountain bikes, you're gonna learn a little bit about mountain
the wheels
bikes
that are on that bike. They turn and stuff.
It's got pedals and things.
And
it's
handlebars. Love handlebars.
I feel like now we're getting to the point where we're just teaching people how to be considerate in a relationship.
I think sometimes this is the most selfish field in the world.
It really is. I think my field is pretty selfish.
No, this is hands down the most selfish field. Besides being a single entrepreneur, like, a single in a relationship status, this is the most selfish thing. It demands the most time. That's what blows my mind. Like, I think concentration.
When I first started getting into, like, my career, I thought my career was going to be pretty selfish, and then it's like, no. Trading's gonna show you one.
Just wait.
Just you wait.
Just lurking in the shadows, ready to go.
Yeah.
I know. So I think that I genuinely think we kind of tackled all the basic necessities on like how to talk to your partner.
Mm-hmm. Just be upfront about stuff.
Yeah, don't be afraid to tell them about red days and be realistic with expectations. And I think for your betterment, or for not you, but I'm talking to people out there, is just, you have to let them know what your expectations are. If you're expecting $1,000 a day and you haven't ever hit it once, and you're expecting $50 a day, like, you have to let them know, like, this is what I'm expecting. So any deviations away from that can be a red flag for them. Like, if she knows I'm only expecting to make $200 or $300 a day, and all of a sudden I just had a negative $1,000 day, she knows, like, that's a big deal to me, and that's going to affect me big time. So, and then she knows how to play to that. And I think that's important for your relationship and the whole point of the podcast and, the other half of trading. So understanding that.
The other thing, too, is with this, it's like, people might just be like, oh, it's a fluff, whatever, I don't care. But it's like, I don't care what anyone says. If your significant other is pissed, you're going to feel that. And your emotions...
You're going to trade bad,
and
too.
Yeah, and trading is so emotional. is so emotional.
Yep.
And this is just all about balance.
Yes.
It's a part of trading that I don't think people realize affects their trading.
Yeah.
Like if you like
Whatever, I'll just trade through it. Well, no big deal.
Yeah. There's so many times I can think back and be like, oh yeah, that was going on. That's
That's why I lost that much money that day.
That's why that happened. Oh, our son was sick for like the umpteenth time. That makes sense. Like just
he wanted to wake up at 3:30 in the morning.
Oh yay!
And you have 6 hours till the market opens.
Yay!
And you haven't got any sleep.
But yeah, it's just
trade through it.
It's just things people don't think about because there's so many layers to trading. It's not like I said. It's not like my job where it's like, okay, see ya, bye, going to work.
Go home. Well, like a typical
and then
9
I'm
to 5.
like checking out when I get home.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's just something I think gets overlooked.
Yeah. So I think that's the general overview that I had for this podcast was making sure you have those talks with your significant other, partner, wife, husband, whoever it is in your life, parents if you're that young, brothers and sisters if you're living with them, whoever it may be, is making sure that you have those talks with those people to understand and make them understand your life, what you're going through, because of it's not your typical job. It's a roller coaster, and you have to let them know, like, it's going to be a 50-foot drop if you have a red day. It's going to be this long grind up for this excitement. Yeah, it's going to be this long grind up, waiting for that drop, and potentially, it's a fucking roller coaster. So it's all about just being prepared for it. So that's how I want to end things.
Yeah.
I love doing this with you because it was just, I think it gives people insights to our relationship and a lot of things that we had to work through over the course of, half a decade right now. We're
oh my God.
Half a decade.
Oh God, that's crazy to think about.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Sorry
I don't even
sorry
have
for the AIDS check. Yeah.
I don't even have words for that. That's just kind of. We're just gonna leave that one there.
So like we've had a lot of experience and a lot of very hard talks about talking about the ups and downs and hey, you can't act that way during this, and hey, you can do this and that. So make sure you have those talks.
Yeah, honest, open, good communication about expectations. I
think that's good. So we're not going to do any Frou of the Week this week. It is the night before Christmas, essentially, by the time that this gets uploaded and everything else like that. So you get a pass this week is what we're going to go with. Next week, after that, we'll dive right back into that. But this allows everyone to enjoy their holidays and move forward. So we're coming to you live here from Beck and A.k.a We, and we'll see you guys later.